Kepler is a mysterious planet located 20 light-years from Earth in the constellation Orion. Its rocky surface is covered with volcanoes, and the temperature fluctuates between 70 and 20 degrees Celsius. But the real danger lies beneath. The planet's core emits poisonous gases, lethal to humans. Despite the risks, the Orion shuttle lands on Kepler with 2 crew members aboard, hoping to survey the planet as a potential new home for humanity. However, their mission takes a disastrous turn almost immediately. As soon as they land, a violent storm erupts, separating the cosmonauts. Time passes, and the shuttle system reboots into debugging mode. Inside the ship, an elderly cosmonaut wakes up alone. It's Commander Jonas Martinez. He goes about his routine, making breakfast on a gas stove before sitting on a training device. While he works out, an automated voice plays a recorded message about Kepler, revealing that the planet orbits 2 stars every 20 to 29 days. Later, Jonas records a log entry, explaining that the storm damaged the shuttle's reactors, leaving them stranded with no way to return to Earth. Jonas, still hopeful, believes that over the past years, humanity's technology has advanced enough to mount a rescue mission. He works tirelessly to repair the damaged panels, replacing parts with egg cartons, and continues to try contacting NASA. But as night falls, he accepts that no one is answering. Each day is the same. Every morning he has breakfast and talks to the ship's AI, which he calls Super. The AI reports no signs of his missing partner, Captain Petro. Despite the silence, Jonas refuses to give up hope that Petro is still alive somewhere on the planet. But there's a twist. Kepler isn't what it seems. The Orion shuttle is not on an alien planet. It's actually an ordinary apartment inside a multi-story building. One day, Jonas is startled awake by an alarm. A government inspector is knocking on his door. Frustrated, Jonas refers to the officials as alien cockroaches and activates a system that sprays foam in the inspector's face, forcing him to retreat down the hallway. Outside, Jonas's angry neighbor Manolo vents his frustration. He's furious that Jonas hasn't paid his share of the building fees. The inspector suggests filing a formal complaint, but Manolo has already reported Jonas to every authority he can think of. While the neighbors argue, a 13-year-old girl named Zulema arrives. She recently moved into the building and lives with her uncle Paco. As she picks up the mail, she notices a letter from the social welfare office. On her way up the stairs, she feels the familiar tightness in her chest and uses her inhaler to manage her asthma. When she reaches her floor, she runs into a nosy neighbor who asks about her family. Paco, her gruff and controlling uncle, appears and scolds her for being late from school. Meanwhile, in his apartment, Jonas receives a warning from Super. Their food supplies are running low. The AI suggests planting crops in the greenhouse. Jonas heads to the bathroom, where seedlings grow under artificial light. Seeing that some of the plants have died, he records another log entry, convinced that he is surrounded by hostile life forms that are drawing closer every day. The next morning, Zulema leaves for school, greeting a local resident who believes he runs a major stock exchange. She kindly suggests he visit the community soup kitchen and leaves a coin on his table. But instead of heading to school, she slips into the basement. There, she opens the letter she received earlier and discovers that her uncle must prove his disability status. It becomes clear that Paco relies on her benefits to survive. In a quiet moment, Zulema pulls out a small toy, a treasured gift from her mother. Her mother used to read her The Little Prince and called the toy a starflower. She told Zulema to keep it close and look at it whenever she felt sad. The toy is a reminder of the day her mother left, a moment Zulema never fully understood. All she wanted was to go with her mother, but instead, she was left behind with only the starflower and her memories. The lights suddenly go out in Jonas's apartment. Super, his home assistant, reports a blown fuse. Without missing a beat, Jonas puts on his trusty spacesuit and heads to the basement to fix the issue. At the same time, Zulema, a young girl living nearby, realizes she's run out of medicine. Down in the basement, Jonas reconnects the wires and restores power. Just as Super confirms the mission's success, Jonas spots an unconscious Zulema. Without hesitation, he carries her back to his apartment, places an oxygen mask on her, and waits for her to wake up. When she comes to, Jonas tells her she's been asleep on the Orion spacecraft for 4 hours. Confused and scared, Zulema bolts for the door despite his warnings that it's dangerous outside. Back home, Zulema faces her grumpy father Paco, who criticizes her cooking. She asks him for money to buy medicine, and soon finds herself back at Jonas's door. Still in his spacesuit, Jonas eagerly questions how she survived Kepler's atmosphere. It becomes clear to Zulema that her eccentric neighbor lives in a world of his own. She thanks him for saving her life, but their conversation is interrupted by a knock at the door. This time, it's an official delivering an eviction notice. Determined to protect his home, Jonas activates a foam-spraying defense system, but the official, prepared, shields himself with a large umbrella. When a locksmith steps in to open the door, Jonas has another trick up his sleeve. With Zulema's help, he electrifies the doorknob, sending the locksmith flying backward and forcing the team to retreat. Seeing Zulema's inhaler fills Jonas with joy. To him, it's proof that she's human. Playing along, Zulema claims to be an envoy from NASA. Overcome with emotion, Jonas declares her the captain of his rescue mission and breaks down in tears. Embracing the fantasy emergency, Zulema spins a tale about future space travel, explaining that spaceships aren't even needed anymore. She hands Jonas her toy star, saying it allows her to journey through space, and leaves him with her school breakfast. As she exits, neither of them notices Manolo, a nosy neighbor, watching from a distance. Later, Manolo meets Paco at a bar and stirs up trouble by revealing that he saw Zulema in the crazy neighbor's apartment. While the bartender and other patrons dismiss Jonas as harmless, Manolo's aggressive attitude makes everyone else back off, leaving only Paco to listen to his rants. Back at home, Paco confronts Zulema, grabbing her face in anger. Their tense moment is interrupted by the doorbell. It's a neighbor returning the inhaler she found in the basement. Meanwhile, Jonas remains lost in his imagined world of Kepler, searching for his mission captain. In reality, he's just sitting alone in his kitchen, dreaming. In the following days, Zulema begins to settle into Jonas's world. She brings him groceries, cooks meals, and makes herself at home. While he rests, she curiously explores his apartment, noticing how everything revolves around space. Among the sci-fi memorabilia, she finds a worn copy of The Little Prince with a heartfelt dedication from Jonas to his son. Flipping through a photo album, she pieces together Jonas's tragic past, a young Jonas with his wife and sons, the final photo showing his wife in a hospital room. Beyond that, the pages are blank. In that quiet moment, Zulema realizes Jonas has experienced loss just like she has. Zulema finds a postcard of a planetarium and decides to visit. During a lecture about the stars, she notices an elderly janitor. Showing him a photo of Jonas, the man immediately recognizes him. Jonas used to work there and was known for his deep love of the stars. The janitor shares more of his story. Jonas had 2 sons, but tragedy struck. One son died in a motorcycle accident, and not long after, his wife passed away. After that, Jonas disappeared from everyone's lives. The janitor mentions that the surviving son, Pedro, took a dark path, and no one knows where he is now. Later, Zulema returns home. Her stepfather, Paco, is already asleep, holding a photo of himself and her mother. Feeling a rare pang of sympathy, she gently covers him with a blanket. The next day, Zulema visits Jonas again. She makes him breakfast and asks about the mysterious captain he's been searching for. Jonas finally opens up. The captain, he reveals, is his son, a boy who once dreamed of exploring the stars, just like his father. Jonas tells Zulema that his wife is in cryogenic sleep, waiting for the day her husband and son return from their space mission. When Zulema quotes The Little Prince, Jonas becomes emotional, remembering how he used to read the same book to his own child. He encourages Zulema not to give up hope, promising that one day she'll see her mother again. As Jonas rests on the couch, Zulema curiously searches through his belongings. In a drawer, she discovers bank documents showing a financial transfer Jonas made in Pedro's name. Determined to find him, she heads to the bank. At first, the teller refuses to share any information, but Zulema's desperate plea to save her grandpa's home softens her heart. The teller discreetly provides Pedro's address. Zulema follows the address to a rundown hangar on the outskirts of town. There, she meets a disheveled man struggling with substance abuse. It's Pedro, though he now goes by the name John's Papilla. He refuses to believe his father is still alive and angrily drives Zulema away. But as the door closes, Zulema spots a table covered in crumpled lottery tickets. Realizing Pedro is desperate for money, she manages to snatch one before being kicked out. Thinking quickly, Zulema uses the ticket as bait. She tells Pedro it's connected to a massive lottery prize that his father is owed, but she wants a share in exchange for helping him claim it. This piques Pedro's interest, and he agrees to meet Jonas. Back at home, Zulema crosses paths with Zaida, the building director, who complains about falling stocks and mentions joining a social club Zulema once recommended. But just as things seem calm, Paco pulls Zulema aside and scolds her for wasting money. Manolo steps in to distract Paco, allowing Zulema to slip away and return to Jonas. She excitedly tells him she found his son, Captain Pedro, and that tomorrow there will be a holographic communication session with him. To sell the illusion, she hands Jonas the lottery ticket, claiming it holds the access code. That night, while Zulema prepares a cake for Pedro's arrival, Paco gets a call from the school principal. Concerned about Zulema's repeated absences, the principal warns that social services may get involved. Furious, Paco storms into the kitchen, where Zulema is packing the cake. He accuses her of wasting his hard-earned money, but she fires back, reminding him that he lives off the social benefits meant for her. Enraged, Paco smashes her toy and violently beats her. The next day, Jonas grows anxious when Zulema doesn't show up. Instead, Pedro arrives, and it quickly becomes clear that he only came for the money. Seeing his father in a delusional state, Pedro dismisses his space fantasies and promises to clean up the apartment once they cash in the winnings. Jonas, still lost lost in his imagined world, reminisces about the spaceship he and his sons built together. But Pedro snaps, bitterly reminding him that he was always the forgotten, stupid child, while his older brother was loved and admired. When Pedro spots the lottery ticket on the table, he realizes he's been tricked. Furious, he begins wrecking the apartment in a fit of rage. At the last moment, he stops himself from hitting his father. With one final resentful glance, Pedro storms out, leaving Jonas alone once again. As Zulema regains consciousness, she stumbles out of the apartment. Paco hears the door and rushes after her, ready to strike again, but before he can reach her, a mysterious light blinds him. Out of the glow, an old man in a spacesuit appears and shoves Paco to the ground. Dazed and confused, Paco struggles to get up, while Jonas quickly leads Zulema away to his apartment. Once there, he gently lays her on the couch and makes her scrambled eggs to help her regain her strength. As she eats, Jonas casually mentions that an alien once attacked him too. Later, Zulema overhears Jonas recording a strange message. He talks about preparing to enter cryogenic sleep and launching his capsule into space. Curious, she watches as he opens the refrigerator, claiming it's his spaceship. Jonas insists that she should rest before their upcoming flight. Meanwhile, Paco is still furious. Manolo, adding fuel to the fire, pushes him to find out what Jonas is doing with Zulema. Drunk and angry, they march to Jonas's apartment, causing a scene and attracting the attention of the neighbors. One neighbor even starts recording the chaos on their phone. When they can't force the door open, Paco convinces Manolo to take things further. Together, they throw a burning bottle through the bathroom window, starting a fire inside. The commotion brings the police, who rush to the scene after hearing that a young girl is trapped inside. Inside the smoke-filled apartment, Jonas believes it's time to board the capsule. Zulema desperately tries to tell him the truth, that there is no spaceship or distant planet, but he refuses to listen. As the fire spreads, Zulema loses consciousness again. With no other choice, Jonas places her inside the refrigerator with him and commands his imaginary assistant, Super, to launch. To the amazement of the onlookers, a capsule seems to fly out of the burning apartment and into the sky. Firefighters manage to catch the falling fridge using a rescue tarp and quickly open it to find Jonas and Zulema inside. Paramedics rush to treat them, while a neighbor shows the police video evidence of the arson. Back at the scene, Zaida, the director, arrives and punches Paco for risking his prized investment. Both Paco and Manolo are arrested on the spot, while Zulema is taken to the hospital to recover. Some time later, Zulema finds herself with a caring foster family, who drives her to a peaceful country nursing home. There, Jonas now resides, though he admits he barely recognizes Earth anymore. With a smile, Zulema leads him to his room, where an advanced robot assistant, the Taurus Ultra, awaits. Sometime later, Zulema finds herself with a caring foster family who drives her to a peaceful country nursing home. There, Jonas now resides, though he admits he barely recognizes Earth anymore. With a smile, Zulema leads him to his room, where an advanced robot assistant, the Taurus Ultra, awaits. Jonas brightens up, ready to embark on their next big adventure.